So Tomlin said changes are going to be made. Do we believe him? That's what everyone's talking about today. We heard the press conference. We know the headlines. That's what everyone's getting on today. Are we actually going to make changes? The main one that's on the top of all of our mind, Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator. But there is one change we know that's going to be happening for next week against the Ravens, and that's at the quarterback position. But this decision is involuntary because of Kenny Pickett's injury that he suffered against the Texans on that 4th-and-1. Terrible call. Again, should have kicked the field goal there. But this is the update that we have on Kenny Pickett and his timeline thus far. According to Mike Garofalo, initial testing on Kenny Pickett yesterday didn't point to an ACL injury, sources say. So the hope for the hashtag Steelers quarterback is that it'll only be a brief absence. They have the Ravens Sunday, and then it's a bye. So there's that. Kenny Pickett will be out for at least this week. Then you have the bye. Might be out the week after that. I honestly forget who we play. Oh, it's Los Angeles Rams on the road. And I thought that was going to be an easy win, but now the Rams are starting to turn the corner again. I think they're 2-2 as well. We should win that game. We should be another Steeler Nation takeover of the stadium and everything, but I don't know if we could just guarantee wins at this point with how we're playing. I don't. I think every game is going to be tough for us going forward if we keep everything intact and don't make changes. Because there is a change we can make that can be voluntary. May I suggest the fire Matt Canada option? I'm sorry. I thought this season was going to be different. I thought this offense was going to build off the momentum that they were sustaining at the end of last year. I thought Pickett going into his second year would be better, just flat out. I thought Pickett would be better, but I also thought the dynamic of Pickett and Canada would be better as well. Having a coordinator that's familiar, or that the second-year quarterback can be familiar with, that would only help. We made all the additions on offense too, bringing in Isaac Seumalo. We drafted Darnell Washington. The young talent, Pickens, Freiermuth, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Deontay Johnson, all those things should only be getting better, right? But it just hasn't been the case. The truth of the matter is the offense under Matt Canada over these last 3 years has just flat out been bad for 80 to 85% of the time. So Tomlin even said it himself, to continue to do the same things and expect different results. It's insanity. Like, what are we doing there? Something has to change. It's got to. And I'm not saying it's all on Canada, because players have been talking about that they need to execute more when they're out there. The coaching as a whole needs to be better. The defense needs to be better. But who has been the one constant over these last 3 years in our subpar offensive performances? Matt Canada. It's as simple as that. Like, there needs to be a shakeup one way or another. I don't think Tomlin's getting fired, and I don't think he should. I think no matter what, he at least should get this full year to play out. He deserves that. He gets that benefit of the doubt. We're not going to be cutting Kenny Pickett. We're not trading Kenny Pickett. We just drafted him in the first round a couple years ago. We're not cutting or trading any of our young talent. We're not doing anything with our offensive line outside of maybe starting Broderick Jones going forward. Matt Canada is the guy. He's got to be the guy that goes. The numbers are putrid. I mean, we could go over any stat over the last 3 years. We could go over the stats this year. It's a bottom tier offense, and Matt Canada has been at the head of it. And you even got former Steeler players saying this. It's not just the fans. It's not just the media. Here's what former players, and actually one of the dudes that used to play on the Steelers that we just went up against, and Steven Nelson, had something to say. He just got the interception against us. But we'll start with Trey Essex. No matter what happens the rest of the game, he has to go. This is abysmal. Also says to see Dobbs run a productive offense in AZ after only a week of practice before he started the season versus this putrid mess we continue to put out there after last year the offseason and preseason and 4 games into the regular season is absolutely sickening. We also got Eric Ebron, Steeler legend Eric Ebron. Well, he's quote tweeting AB here. AB has many tweets out there saying poor things about the Steelers offense. And this was one of them. Steelers drives thus far, 8 plays, 13 yards a pick, 3 plays, 2 yards a punt, 3 plays, 2 yards a punt. And Ebron quote tweets it and says, "Keep going. I'm co-signing it all because something's got to change. We're wasting Najee, we're wasting GP, and we're wasting Pickett." Jalen Samuel, former Steeler running back, says the play calling is terrible. And I already mentioned Steven Nelson. We all know he used to play here in Pittsburgh, and over the last couple of years has been in different destinations. Was with the Eagles last year, now with the Texans. Got an interception early in the game. And this is what he had to say about going up against the Steelers offense and why he got the interception. It was all just film study, man. Watching what they do, what they were successful at. They hit the same player, the same formation look last week. They scored on the touchdown versus Vegas. And I was just ready for it, recognizing the formation and the player who they run the post with. And it just allowed me to go out there and make a play on the ball. So there you have it. There you have it. It's not only us. It's former players seeing it as well. Like, what's it got to take? What's it got to take? What has Canada done that is giving you hope that he's going to turn it around and give us the best potential out of this offense? Doesn't have a great track record in college. Doesn't have a great track record in the pros. If we keep doing the same things and expecting different results, it's just insanity. A shakeup needs to happen. Something's got to give. Got to give. We see it done in hockey. How many times did teams fire head coaches middle of the season? And a lot of times, and I know this firsthand here in Pittsburgh, back in, what was it, 07, 08, right? We had Michelle Therrien as a head coach. Year before, I think we did pretty good. Didn't we go to the finals? We went to the Stanley Cup finals with Therrien and that Penguins team, all the young talent, Crosby, Malkin, and whatnot. Got off to a sluggish start the next year. We fired him, brought in Dan Bylsma. We win the Stanley Cup. Not saying it's all Canada, but it's not him. That's for sure. So he's the guy that's got to get moved at this point. He's the guy. And I feel like, too, Dobbs was brought up by Trey Essex as an example. You got other quarterbacks around the league, young quarterbacks, inexperienced quarterbacks, that look good. So you mean to tell me these dudes like a Josh Dobbs, who failed here in Pittsburgh, like we didn't even give him a real look or a real chance to be a starter here. He's out in Arizona looking competent, running a decent offense out there. You got Anthony Richardson coming in as a rookie, looking decent up with the Colts. CJ Stroud, we just went up against them. Sam Howell with the Commanders, even Jordan Love with the Packers. You can't tell me all those dudes are that much better than Kenny Pickett. I refuse to believe that. I refuse. Now, if you have that take, whatever. But what do those dudes have different than what Kenny Pickett has here? I feel like a coordinator that actually like helps them out and puts them in good scenarios. Rich, he got that dude from the Eagles that came over, Shane Steichen. CJ Stroud, he's got a guy under the Shanahan coaching tree. Sam Howell, Eric Bieniemy. Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur. So, yes, Pickett does have to play better. Players got to execute better. But you got to have coaches. You got to have play callers. You got to have an offensive coordinator that is going to put us in the best position as an offense every time we go out there on the field, to put their quarterback in the most comfortable spots. Give them the best play calls. Give them the best routes where they can make the best reads and progressions and whatnot. You need to be helping your quarterback out as a play caller, as an OC, as opposed to, from my standpoint, it feels like hurting them. I also question Canada's adaptability and his feel for his personnel, because when Seven was here, how was Canada running the show? It was like putting Ben under center and doing jet sweeps and bringing some of his college stuff here. No, when Big Ben's 39 years old, you run some shotgun stuff. You run some more traditional stuff that's going to help 7 out. And it feels the same way right now. It doesn't feel like Canada is helping out Pickett. It's helping out this personnel. It doesn't. It seems as soon as we go out on the field with this offense, that the defense knows what we're doing. We're slow or we're a step behind. And Tomlin doesn't get off the hook on this either because Tomlin brought in Matt Canada. It starts at the top. Or you could even talk about Rooney too. Like, do we need to shell out more money to bring in better coordinator talent, to bring in better like position coach talent? There's an argument for that. So, I mean, across the board, everyone deserves some type of blame. A shakeup is needed. I don't think it's going to be Tomlin being fired. I don't think it should be Tomlin getting fired right now. What's the next best thing? What's the obvious answer? I think we all know what it is. I just went over all the tweets from former players. Anyone that's watching football and watching the Steelers, it's just time, man. It's time. It's clear. Ryan Clark said earlier today, too, another former Steeler player, I'd like to think he knows what he's talking about, right? I'd like to think he knows the game of football. He said Canada needs to go back to Pitt. I wouldn't be opposed to that because I think Canada would be a better college coordinator than what Pitt has right now in Cignetti. But all right, before I get into the winners and losers for the day, or for yesterday's game, I'm sorry. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me put up the graphic real quick. There we go. Who's in the house today? Who is in the house? We got Sequoia Harris back here. Says can't hear you, OG. Turn mute off. Turn the mute off. I think my sound's pretty good. I think it's fine. Dino Domas says, this is Pittsburgh. We're not the Jets. Make big changes quick. So what are you referring to there? Are you saying we don't make big changes quick? Because that's what the Jets typically do. And yeah, we are a more traditionally conservative organization. We don't make big sweeping changes. We don't make big knee-jerk reactions. And I like that. There's pros and cons to that, but I think we've been more on the pro side where it's worked out for us. But I don't think this would be a knee-jerk reaction if we let go of Canada. We've had 2 years and 4 weeks into this 2023 season to see what he's been putting out there. And it's just not good. It's not up to snuff. And we need to figure out, too, more about Pickett. And I feel like if we keep Canada around, we're still going to be asking ourselves, was it more Canada holding Pickett back? As opposed to like, okay, we brought in a new guy. We brought in a guy that actually has a track record, like a Todd Haley or a Mark Whipple. You could go down the list of offensive coordinators that are available. We go down the list. We say, okay, we actually brought in a guy that we know is competent, and Pickett was able to do this or not do this. But up to this point, yeah, with Canada being here, I guess we're just always going to be asking that question. D. Jones, he says, Colin should be in charge of hiring the assistant coaches. I don't know about that. He's got enough on his plate. And that's the other thing, too. All of our personnel moves this offseason, it hasn't been panning out like I thought. I thought Pat P was going to be better. Levi Wallace, I know we signed him last offseason, but I thought he was going to be better. Inside linebackers haven't been terrible. But Landon Roberts, he could have been better yesterday for sure. Isaac Sayamalu on the offensive line. Hell, if we even want to throw some blame on Khan, he can get a little bit there. Just because some of the guys we signed haven't been up to snuff. Zoo Blue says he's got a breakdown. 1, Canada is the problem. 2, O-line is a huge problem. Pickett doesn't trust him. I'm with you on that. Pickett's been bailing the pocket a little bit too often, more than we would like. Sometimes he's been making plays. That Najee Harris pass where he dotted up to Harris. Harris got 30 yards. That was really nice. So there have been some plays that Pickett has made by getting out of the pocket, escaping the pocket. But sometimes if he just steps up, you could hit a dude across the middle of the field. I don't think he trusts the O-line, though. I'm with you on that. T. Brockington, them inside linebackers are horrible. Yeah, they weren't too good yesterday. As a whole, I think they've been solid this season, though. I said yesterday we made Dameon Pierce look like Bo Jackson. Bad. All right. Shout out to you guys for stopping through. Let me go over my winners and losers from yesterday. I think I'm just going to start this one out with the most glaring winner, I think, on both sides of the ball. Now, we could talk some special teams, but I needed to do this. I needed to bring this out there. I don't know if I'm going to sign this yet, but a Najee Harris apology form. We know I've been saying Jaylen Warren should be RB1. He should be getting more carries. I think that he's better for the Steelers offense. But yesterday, Najee Harris was pretty much the lone winner on offense. Pretty much the lone winner. He's the only one that did something for us. Had 70 yards on the ground. I think he had over 100 total yards of offense, over 70 yards on the ground, and then he had over 30 receiving. So shout out to him. He looked really good out there. So these are my reasons, or not my reasons, just reasons in general for people to be questioning Najee Harris recently, right? And I can say I thought of a few of these myself. I could put my hand up. I could own up to it. But I don't know if I'm willing to sign this just yet. I don't know if I'm willing to go there because it's not like Najee went off for 200 yards yesterday or anything. He had a good game. He had a solid game. And as I was saying yesterday, I don't think it was that important which running back we had out there, one way or another. Offense just wasn't good. But here's some of the reasons for people questioning Najee. Media told me he wasn't good. Thought Jaylen Warren was better. Wanted Steelers to draft Creed Humphrey. Didn't think the Steelers' O-line was actually that bad. But, yeah, I think the O-line's that bad. I don't think they're helping Najee Harris. I've come to that full realization from yesterday. Forgot Matt Canada was our OC. And then there's just some other reasons that are out there. I'm not willing to sign this just yet. I'm not, but Najee was a winner yesterday. This is on my radar. I'm gonna print it out. I'll print it out. How about that? I'll print it out. Yeah, he was pretty much the lone winner for the Steelers offense yesterday. And then I'm even trying to think defense. JPJ, maybe? I don't know, because whenever I looked at his snap counts today, he wasn't on the field that much. He was only on the field 14%, or was it 14 snaps or 14% of the snap? I can't remember, but his snap counts went down from last week. It's been a constant uptick from week 1 to week 3, and then it went backwards. And then when he had a chance to make a play after Minka missed that tackle, he gave some weak effort there too. So I don't even know if I could put JPJ on the winners. In terms of just offense, defense, I think it only goes to Najee Harris. TJ Watt was a no-show. Alex Highsmith, he made a play or two, but we expect more out of him. Especially Highsmith and TJ going up against this decimated Texans offensive line. Laramie Tunsil was not out there. Fant on the right side, that shouldn't even be a match for TJ. But I think that goes hand in hand with the Texans actually having an offensive coordinator that is helping their offense with schemes and trying to neutralize the Steelers' defense's best players in TJ Watt and Highsmith and Minka and all that. Where I don't feel like we have that here in Canada. Texans OC helped Stroud, helped the Texans offense, was able to neutralize TJ Watt. That's coaching. That means something. Obviously, the players got to execute, but you want your coaches in place to actually help your players out. And the Texans did that. I think you give them credit. On special teams then, yeah, offense, defense, I'm just going Najee Harris as a winner. Unless you guys can think of someone else. Let me know in the chat if I'm missing someone. But special teams, Boswell, he's been money all season, hasn't missed. Thought we should have kicked on the 4th and 1. It would have been a 51-yarder for him. Would have bet a fair amount of money that he would have drained that center cut. And then Brad Wing, again, for being out as long as he has in the NFL. This was his first game in 6 years. He punted pretty good. I wouldn't say as good as Presley Harvin last game, but if Harvin was out for an extended period of time, I'd be fine with continuing to trot out Brad Wing. I guess you could say Mitch is a winner, even though he didn't play good yesterday when he got out there. But now he gets another chance to start and prove himself. Where after how last year ended with the switch from Trubisky to Pickett and Pickett presumably being our franchise quarterback here, I just assumed Mitch was comfortable being a backup for the rest of his career in the NFL, especially with him signing the extension here in Pittsburgh. Calvin Austin had a cool catch, I guess, but, I mean, he didn't really do much. So those are my only winners. Do you guys have any other suggestions? Zublu says Broderick Jones was decent. Yeah, and I said that yesterday, and a lot of people were trying to blame him for the Kenny Pickett sack on 4th and 1. But Kenny rolled out. If Kenny would have stepped up, he could have hit. I think it was Connor Hayward over the middle of the field. So, yes, Broderick could have blocked better on that play, but Kenny also could have not left the pocket and spun into the guy that Broderick was trying to block. Little catch-22 on that one. But I felt like once Broderick got out there in the second half, our run game improved when we ran it to his side. Ray Jones, 121 says we need to use Darnell for more targets. Poppy Gleesh is also wondering why isn't Darnell getting targets. Well, I think your wish is going to be granted here because Muth might be hurt for a few weeks. They're giving a scan for his hamstring. They think it's a little bit more severe than what they initially thought. So that will mean Darnell is going to be the tight end 1. I'd assume he'd get more targets, although we haven't been targeting Freiermuth at all. We just haven't been targeting the tight end or much of the middle of the field, to be honest. So even if Darnell gets more playing time and takes over Muth's spot, I don't know if that exactly means more targets. He'll get a chance for more targets, at least. He'll get a chance. And that's the next thing. What are we going to do at tight end? If Muth is gone, do we got to sign someone? We're going to have to, because all we got is Darnell and Connor Hayward. Gentry's on the Bengals practice squad. That move would probably just make the most sense. Is there anyone else out there in like free agency that's intriguing? What about trading for Chase Claypool from the Bears and making him a tight end? That's a disaster. That is an absolute disaster. We keep winning that trade more and more as time goes on. Was inactive for the Bears last game. They told him not even to show up to the facilities this week. Man, we tried to warn Chicago fans. We tried to tell them. Claypool ain't who you think he is. Dre Jones says the coaches got out coached. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Texans coach D'Amico Ryan said he looks up to Mike Tomlin and aspires to be like him one day. Dude, you outcoached him. Outcoached him in yesterday's game. So there's that. You must be doing something right. You must be on your way. And then losers, yeah, you guessed it. I mean, across the board, offense, defense, coaching, name a player. They get thrown into that category outside of Najee Harris, Boswell, Brad Wing. And based off yesterday's game, you could throw Mitch into the losers. But I'm saying with the result of how yesterday played out, Mitch now gets a chance. So he's, considered a winner from that standpoint, just because now he gets an opportunity going forward. That's kind of what I'm saying with Mitch. You get what I'm saying? Having a little leeway on the term winners there. But losers, yeah, Pickett needs to be better. Jaylen Warren, ball security, needs to be better. Pickens, Do you blame him completely? But I think there's just a couple passes that he should be catching that we're used to seeing him catch, combat style catches. Feel like he could be better. I guess Allen Robinson or Calvin Austin didn't get the most of opportunities, but the pick that was thrown in Austin's direction, I would have liked to seen him go up for that better, but what can you do when he's only like 5'7", 5'8"? Just don't know if that's really his playing style. The jump ball, boxing out a defender way down the field. Don't know if he's got that. Tyreek Hill, even though he's a small dude, AB, even though he's a small dude, Steve Smith, even though he's a small dude, they did have that ability. I don't know if that's in Calvin Austin's repertoire just yet. Muth, he got hurt. O-line as a whole, not good. Defense, anyone on that defensive line, we were giving up a lot to Dameon Pierce. Run defense was looking like Swiss cheese. TJ Watt, Highsmith need to be better. Inside linebackers need to be better. Secondary, seems like we're seeing the same things week after week from Levi Wallace and Pat P. Their best game was probably the Browns game combined. But week 1, week 3, week 4, leaving more to be desired. Week 3, the problem is they got those picks. So that makes up for some of the chunk plays that they were giving up. They at least had some splash. But the trend is not good with our corners. Minka, it feels like 2021 Minka, where he's having to bail out our front seven for letting up so much in the run game, and he's having to make all these tackles. And then that's hurting him in coverage because he's focused on all that stuff where he just can't be the usual ball hawk Minka, right? Casey's like a no-show. Neal, no-show. And I mentioned JPJ. Like, it seems like good things happen when he's out there. He's not getting cooked completely, but he had a chance to make a tackle, and I didn't think he gave his best effort on it. So only really 3 winners from yesterday's game. Everyone else could be thrown in the losers category. We got outcoached, all facets, defense, offense. So the coordinators there, Terrell Austin, Matt Canada, Mike Tomlin. We came out flat. We looked like we didn't want it. And that goes to coaching. That's my thing, too. Jacob Jefferson, I talked about this yesterday. He says too much is on Minka and Watt, especially without Cam. I know Cam's important to the defense. I just feel like we still shouldn't be like this just because we're missing him. Same thing on offense. I do think we have taken for granted what Deontay meant to this offense, but it still shouldn't be like this just because we're missing 18. When they come back, they should help. But just one player like that, it's got to be better. It's got to be better. Because we see it from other teams across the league. We saw it in the game we just played yesterday with the Texans. How many dudes were missing from them with their offensive line? They had second and third stringers out there. But the pressure outside of like 2 series was not there at all. We couldn't attack Stroud like I thought. Basically, everything that I thought was going to happen in this game, it was the opposite. I thought we were going to be clean on offense. We were going to be moving the ball down the field like we did in the Raiders game. That didn't happen. I thought the defense was going to be getting on Stroud within like a second or two. He was only going to be able to make one read, and he'd be flustered. That didn't happen. Thought we would be able to stop the Texans' run game because Dameon Pierce hasn't been able to do anything this year. The Texans' O-line, for the most part, has been bad, but they gashed us. We at least got our run game going. I guess that's the one thing I thought we'd be able to do because the Texans' front seven weren't as good as those first 3 teams that we faced this year. We were able to get some things going on the ground, but weren't able to capitalize it at all. When we were moving the ball, we had to kick field goals and then 4th and 1, and that was the game right there. Didn't convert on 4th and 1, gave the momentum back to the Texans, and that was that. That was that. Let me see what you guys are saying real quick before I get out of here. Did I miss anything on winners and losers? Desmond King? Oh. Dre Jones is saying start JPJ and Desmond King. Yeah, because at least he didn't drop the ball or fumble it in the kick returns. But his King's returns weren't that amazing yesterday. They weren't that good. Sue Blue says, I saw more creativity in one Chiefs drive than Canada had in 2 years. I mean, yeah, they got dudes motioning all over the place. I'm sure that's such a pain for a defense to be dealing with. But we don't know that. It feels like our motions, even though it's trying to be unpredictable, whenever we do them, it just feels predictable. It feels like the defense knows exactly what this motion is for and what it's doing. Zoo Blue questions, is this O-line strong enough? I see them push back too often. Look at the Eagles line. They knock the lines back 5 yards. It's weird, man, because with how they played end of 2022, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I thought our O-line was like top 15 by the end of last year. And then we add an Isaac Seumalo, who everyone is saying is a top 5 guard in the NFL. He comes here and is not looking top 5. That's for sure. And you got Mason Cole. It looks like he regressed. I thought he was great value for us last year. We signed him for a multi-year deal, $5 million a year. Mason Cole was really nice at the center position for us in 2022. He's taking a step back. James Daniel, he was borderline Pro Bowl in 2022. Now he's hurt, but he's taking a step back. Chooks, we paid all that money to. He's getting cooked. Dan Moore going into his 3rd year, you'd think he'd be a little bit better. That hasn't been the case. Now we might be seeing Broderick Jones more because of Dan Moore's injury. But yeah, I thought the O-line was going to be better. I thought we were going to have road graders. Zoo Blue thinks there's a blocking scheme problem. So many times our O-line are chipping rather than blocking. They're more concerned with going to the second level to linebackers. It could be the case. Could be. D. Jonesy says this season has just been a disappointment. It has been, but again, the crazy part of it is we are 2-2, only a game or half a game out of first place, however you want to put it. If we beat the Ravens, we will be in first place of the AFC North after week 5, and we'll have a bye week. As disappointing as it has been, we're still there. We're still there. All right. Big shout out to you guys, man. I'll be back on Wednesday. I guess we'll see if Tomlin did make a change. We'll see. I would assume that decision would be made today if it was going to happen. You want to rip the Band-Aid off as opposed to just letting that be out there and the questions, because the players got to move on too. You got to know what you're dealing with for this upcoming matchup. And that's if you're going to have Matt Canada as your OC or if you're not. My money is no. He's not going to be fired this week. If the same stuff happens against the Ravens, then maybe at the bye. That would make the most sense. I want to win. I want to be 3-2. Some people are talking about, I'd rather lose just so we can fire Canada. I want to win. Why can't we do both? Why can't we win and still fire Canada? Why can't we do both? All right, I'm out of here. Stay chilling, everyone. Be back Wednesday, I believe, around this time. I think it's 1 o'clock. It's either noon or 1 o'clock, so stay tuned there. And, yeah, let's beat the Ravens this week, get to 3-2, get to the top of the AFC North. And you know what? I mean, I'm hoping for Mitch to have a big game, too. I'm hoping for some Mitch redemption. Get this offense back on track. Stay chilling. Peace out.